Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Batholkis, and it's time for Saturday Morning Blast Off. Welcome, everybody. Let me take care of some business first, then we'll get to the news. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, you're going to see at the end of this video a video pop up here. And basically, what YouTube does takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching, tries to match it as best as possible. One of the videos, my vast video library, and popped up there just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down there. Also, if you want to know when I'm live again next, you get the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule that's up there. I have it change it out every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media, so Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. No tiers set up on the Patreon, but there will be once I hit 1,000 subscribers. That way I can give you guys stuff when you give me money. Also, I have the links to this YouTube channel, my Facebook page, and a Facebook group page for those of you who still have Facebook, so you can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. All right. Let's get to it, shall we? So the big news of the week, there wasn't much news this week, of course, because it's Thanksgiving, week and all that stuff here in the States. So there wasn't that much news. The big news is that Amazon renewed The Expanse for a 6th and final season. That's right. We're going to get season 5 here in a couple of weeks, and then season 6 will be it for the series at Amazon anyway. So it's been canceled yet again. And season 6 will not have Cass Anvar in there due to the many sexual misconduct allegations that have been piled against him at this point. So, he won't be in season 6 at all. Yeah. A lot of people said this could have gone on like 15 seasons and whatnot. I haven't read any of the books, so I don't know, how many books there are. I think I've got one, the first one in my digital library, but I still haven't read it. Sorry, I'm drinking out of the head of Doctor Strange there. It's I don't know. I like the series. It's good. And it's kind of shitty that they're canceling, but it's Amazon. I mean, Amazon's shaking some stuff up. I think they have a new programming director. I can't remember offhand. I think they do. As of last year. That's right. She actually was the one, I believe, that was responsible for killing the tick, if I remember correctly. That was her first duty when she came on board. So they do have. Well, she's not new. She's been there for a while, but yeah. What are you gonna do? So, also speaking of sexual misconduct allegations, Mads Mikkelsen is replacing Johnny Depp in Fantastic Beasts 3. And again, this is because of all the stuff that's been going on. Um, with his legal woes, I guess you could say, his marital woes between him and Amber Heard, and that shitstorm that happened in the courtroom, and also in their lives too. So he is being replaced by Mads Mikkelsen in Fantastic Beasts 3. I've never seen any of the Fantastic Beasts series, so I can't tell you. Oh, I take that back. I did attempt to watch the first one, and I fell asleep about 5 minutes, 10 minutes into it. So, I really just kind of out, But then again, I'm not really into the Harry Potter world of stuff. Yes, I know, shocker. That is, but sorry, it just doesn't do it for me. I know a lot of people are. That's fantastic, but it just doesn't do it for me. Yeah. But I love Mads Mikkelsen. I mean, dude is awesome. If you haven't seen it on Netflix, there's a movie that he did called I can't remember if it's called North Pole or what it is. He's a hitman, a retired hitman, and or he's gonna retire, and of course he's getting hunted down, and it's got a lot of like dark humor in it, like dark humor, and it's based on a graphic novel. So And yes, I haven't seen Hannibal yet either. It's on my queue of things to watch, and I just haven't gotten into it. I watch a lot of shit. Okay, so it's hard for me to pick and choose, and sometimes I watch actual shit. It's like Melissa McCarthy movies, which I'll get into at the end of all of this. Oh man. So yeah, that's what's going on there. Speaking of other sexual misconduct allegations, that's all it seems to be this morning. Uh, Joss Whedon is stepping away from HBO's The Nevers. He's stepping down as executive producer, as he puts it, due to health concerns that he is having exhaustion issues, things like that. It has nothing at all to do with the myriad of allegations that were thrown at him from the reshoots of Justice League, and also all his sexual misconduct allegations, and pretty much everything kind of coming home to roost now at this point. And it got nothing at all to do with that. It just has to do with exhaustion. That's all. And if you're trying to figure out what the Nevers is, it's kind of like Leave Extraordinary Gentlemen, but only with all female cast, Victorian cast. And they're not famous; they're just Victorian. It's essentially it's the same plot. So I'm sure Michael Moore is not Michael Moore. Who am I talking about? Alan Moore is cooking up some kind of Celtic curse on Joss Whedon. That's probably what he's been doing, because that's what he does. You know, he's a druid. Alan Moore, he is. Yes, yeah. But no one really cares about Joss Whedon anymore. So, but what the people do care about is that King Kong versus Godzilla is probably going to go to straight to video, or excuse me, straight to HBO Max in the summer of 2021. Um, I'm all for it, quite honestly. I will, I'm looking forward to Wonder Woman 1984 coming out to HBO Max this Christmas. Yeah, bring it. I mean, I would rather watch it at home than go and sit in a theater that it's going to be questionable to me, and also the people around me are going to be fairly questionable because of where I live. Not just that, just in general. I would never go to any theater anywhere at this point. Just yeah, not worth it, quite honestly. So yeah, bring it on, man. I would rather actually have this stuff get released, video on demand, that kind of stuff. I will pay for it. I swear. Just, make it reasonable. If it's 20 bucks, sure, I'll do it. 30 bucks, a little out of the realm of possibility unless I own a digital copy of it or get a physical copy of it. I'd rather have a physical copy of it, tell you the truth, for 30 bucks and be able to watch it digitally at that point. You're going to charge me 30 bucks, make it worth my while. 20 bucks though, I'll do 20 bucks. What, theaters aren't sanitary and safe? No, they're not. Look at it this way. You've got some kid who's working minimum wage and he's supposed to work the sanitizer between showings. Yeah, I don't think so. They can't even get the fucking soda up off the ground pre-pandemic. Yeah, exactly, Penn. Yeah, I mean, ugh, no thanks. No, thank you. Yeah, some of those theaters haven't been cleaned in 40 years, and they're expecting them to actually be sanitized now. Ain't gonna fucking happen. Yeah. I've seen those sanitation, machines that they use, the big it looks like a dust buster on steroids that spews out some kind of smoke to let you know that it's working. Yeah. I don't put any trust in that shit at all. And I put even less trust in the people that are, in a movie theater, working in a movie theater in order to decon those seats. And decon is what we use in the business, decontamination. Yes, I've done decontamination work for blood spills, radiation spills, you name it, I've done it. And yeah, it's takes a lot more effort than just waving a magic wand over it. Especially when you're dealing with something as bad as this virus is. So, with that side note, let's go back over to yeah. Amazon, of course, taketh away one more time. They've canceled Utopia after one season. This is, of course, the John Cusack show that was based on the British series that was out there, and I really liked it. I really liked Utopia. It was a good thing, and it was a bit brutal. I admit that, and I really think what's hurting Amazon right now, it's much like Netflix, where they're just dropping an entire series all at once. They are not releasing the amount of content that Netflix is in order to do that. So every now and then I'll watch something on Amazon because I'm like, oh, that's new, and I'll watch it and it's there and I can watch it at my leisure or whatnot. Netflix, it's like every week there's something dropping every week. And yeah, it's really hard to kind of, do all of that. Hey, Sentient. Nice last name there too. uh, so yeah, it sucks that they're actually canceling Utopia. I really liked it. I wanted to see where it was going to go in a second season, but no. You watched the original? Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't seen the original yet. It's in my queue. Again, like I said, I watch way too much shit, so there's stuff in queues everywhere. I like the remake, I guess you could say, but I'll take a look at the original too, see what it's like, especially now that the remake is canceled. So Disney Plus, of course, is doing a whole slew of Marvel shows, and one of those shows is Hawkeye. And Hawkeye right now is going to start filming in Brooklyn on December 2nd. That's right. But no word on who is playing Kate Bishop yet. They haven't announced who is playing Kate Bishop. My guess is this is some kind of new ploy that Disney's been doing. It's the same thing like Masliani, who said she's not She-Hulk, even though they had this whole big press conference saying that she was She-Hulk. And she's going, no, 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 I'm not She-Hulk. Well, I'm fairly sure that Haley Steinfeld is still playing Kate Bishop. And the whole thing of, oh, I don't know if I can do it with my work on Apple's Dickinson as well. It's like bullshit. You can do two series at the same time. Or not at the same time, but I mean, you could do two series in a year. It's not that hard to do. Hey, Jay Hicks. The original's on Amazon right now. The original Utopia. So it's available on Amazon, I should say. That's where I've seen it. Yeah. You can find both the remake and the original on Amazon. I don't get any money for that, but still. There you go. So yeah, I'm fairly sure that Haley Steinfeld is still cast as Kate Bishop and is going to be back for that. And speaking of coming back, Captain Jack Harkness will be back. Harkness, excuse me, Harness. Captain Jack Harkness will be back in the holiday episode of Doctor Who. Also, he's supposed to be in episode 12, I believe, is what that is. So yes, he's in episode 12, and he's also on the holiday episode of Doctor Who. For those of you who are still watching it, I haven't watched anything, I think, since Matt Smith, to tell you the truth on that. Yeah, like I said, I watch way too much stuff. Yes, yes, Penn. Captain Jack is coming back. John Barrowman himself, excuse me, is coming back. So I think he's at the end of episode 12, is what they said, and then he's going to be in the holiday episode, which I think is in January, if I'm not mistaken. Honestly, I wasn't too thrilled. I'm not I'm not a huge Doctor Who fan either, so go figure. I am more the superhero sci-fi realm of stuff. And yes, I know that Doctor Who is sci-fi, but it was more geared towards children, and I guess that's what I was getting out of it, was that it was more geared towards children, and it wasn't doing anything for me. The Matt Smith version of it, yes, I liked it just because of, I think it was the writing at the time was really good, and then when they moved over to, Tenet, I just didn't like him playing it for some reason. It was just really, he was very mean, and, I wasn't really getting into it. So, yeah. And yes, I agree with you, Jay Hicks. Doctor Who is very, very corny. I got all of that. I knew where it was going. I knew what I was getting into, and I got into it. And I'm just, yeah, I'm okay with it. So this is something I covered before. Lamorne Morris's series Woke, which is on Hulu, is getting a second season. I've actually covered it on my segment here. Is it worth my time? And I said it wasn't worth your time if you're looking for a social relevance, social commentary, that kind of stuff. And it just needs to actually, I don't know, push some boundaries. It needs to get some balls, man. That's all I'm saying. I like the premise of it, but it just didn't have any teeth to it. It didn't go far enough. It needed to really kind of push boundaries, and it didn't do any of that at all. Yeah. Sentient says, I'm not too upset about the expanse because of 30-year timeline jump in book 7. It would be very hard putting it on screen without some convoluted explanation. Yeah. Yeah, Penn, I agree with you. So going back to Doctor Who, Eccleston was one of my favorite doctors, and he got screwed over. You want to talk about somebody getting screwed over big time? Eccleston got really screwed over. I mean, he got blacklisted for years in film and TV because he didn't want to do any more Doctor Who. Yeah, and it was just because he was having a horrible experience working with the people that he was working with at the time. Yeah. I agree with you, Penn. So woke does have its moments. There's some really good comedy in it. There really is, and I go into more detail. If you go into my "Is it worth my time?" It's only like 20 minutes long for woke, and I go into detail about it. So take a look at it, and that way you can see whether or not you want to do it. But yeah, I liked it. I mean, I liked the premise of it, I should say. I didn't think it was worth people's time because it just didn't go far enough. Yeah. So what else we got here? Huh. This one made me laugh. Actually, let me do this one first, and I'll go to the one that made me laugh. So Polly Shore, this also made me laugh too. So Polly Shore wants to do an Encino Man 2 and says that both Sean Astin and Brendan Fraser are up for it as well. I could see this. I mean, the original was done in 1992. So you're looking at almost 30 years later doing this. And I can see doing an Encino Man 2 and actually have it happen 30 years later and what happened to these characters, and have you know, Brendan Fraser's character now being a high-powered CEO. He's gone to completely corporate and just animalistic bullshit and all this stuff. And that would be hilarious. It really would be. And that the other two work for him, Polly Shore and Sean Astin's character work for him. I would be okay with that. And someone just needs to get on it. That's all. That is one of those, nostalgia movies. If you're going to do it, you could do it right with this one. I mean, there wasn't much to work with in the first one anyway. So, and it was just funny more than anything else. So, yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. What else we got here? Oh, yeah. This is the last thing I've got going on here. And then we can just open it up free form, I guess, after that. Um, this just made me really fucking laugh. So, Nick Cage is going to be in a movie where he's playing himself. and it's called The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Now, hold on for a minute. So he's gonna be playing himself where he's taking shitty movie roles, right? And the only reason why he's taking shitty movie roles is because he's trying to pay off debt. And he's got a 90s version of himself that keeps harassing him about not being the star that he used to be back in the 90s. And I guess he ends up working he gets hired by Pedro Pascal's character, who turns out to be a cartel member, a cartel drug lord, and um, Nick Cage is also going through a divorce and some family issues, and Pedro Pascal's uh, drug cartel character decides to bring the family all together. And somehow or another, Neil Patrick Harris is also involved in this as well. He's signed on to be in this movie as well. I, I can't make any of this up. And it's one of those things I kind of looked at it and I'm like, I'm blinking as I'm looking at it. I'm like, am I fucking reading this right? Is this okay? I'm in. I think I'm in. This will be the first Nick Cage movie in a while that I might have to actually look at just because it sounds fucking crazy. It sounds like JCVD. If you ever saw Jean-Claude Van Damme's movie JCVD, which is awesome, and also if you can, you go back on Amazon and it should still be up there. It's Jean-Claude Van Johnson, also great mockumentary kind of stuff. That's what I'm thinking it's going to be in the realm of. Yeah. You'd rather a Ghost Rider remake? Yeah, not with him in it though. I'd rather there be a serious Ghost Rider movie if they're going to do it. You mean Jean-Claude Van Johnson? Yeah, I want the other half of Jean-Claude Van Johnson. JCVD was the movie, Pen, and JCVD was awesome in its own right. But and I'm fairly sure that's what spun off on Jean-Claude Van Johnson, which is in and of itself. It was just getting good too. There's only 6 episodes, and they have another 6 someplace in the can, someplace. Someone needs to release it because it ended with time travel. That's all I'm gonna say. And yeah, as fucked up as weird as that was, yeah, it was a great show. I might have to go back and rewatch that. That might actually be a subject for another Is It Worth My Time? Yeah, just because it's only 6 episodes, but it's fucking funny. Yeah. So, that's all I've got because, like I said, this is a very short news week. It's Thanksgiving, and so no one's really doing a lot of stuff. I mean, there was some stuff released here and there, but nothing big. I mean, I'm surprised The Croods 2 actually made $14 million. I'm surprised the first one even made $14 million, tell you the truth. I think I saw that on FX or something like that, and I was just like, What?" And I know people that worked on the movie, I'm sorry, but yeah, it wasn't good. So, sorry guys out there if you worked on the movie and you're watching this. I wasn't a fan. Um, can't wait for the Expanse yeah, so the Expanse season 5, of course, December 15th. And yes, I will be covering it, and I will be going episode by episode. The first 3 episodes drop on the 15th, and then afterwards, it's going to be 1 episode, a week after that, which is the way it should be. It should be episodic and not dropped all at once. Quite honestly, you drop it all at once, you know, people forget about it immediately. It's gone. It's out of their head. Gone. Yeah. No, this is not The Expanse's last season. Season 6 will be The Expanse's last season, like I said at the beginning. And also in the description, there's a description down here, the video below me. That's okay, Dante. You know how much I like repeating myself. Yeah, I agree with you, Sentient. They did fuck up season 4 big time. It and also season 4 was slow. It was a slow burn. It really was. And it helped season 4 because season 4 was such a slow burn to drop it all at once because then you could get through it to get to the good stuff. And unfortunately, yeah, I think that like I said before, if you go back and take a look at my season 4 review of it, of the blocks, I guess you could say, I even said, I believe like it was a couple of weeks, not even a couple of weeks later. I think it was a week later on one of the Saturday morning blast offs that people aren't talking about it anymore. It's gone. And I might have actually said it in the last season 4 Expanse review that no one's talking about it now and it's gone. Yeah. Yeah, they also dropped it right. They didn't expect the Mandalorian to be big at all. They thought, oh yeah, the Mandalorian's gonna be shit compared to this. And it's like, nope, Star Wars, motherfucker. You put a Mandalorian and Star Wars and someone that actually knows what they're writing about in Star Wars, it's gonna kick the shit out of your Expanse show. It really did. And I think that was, and also that it was dropping weekly, The Mandalorian, every episode. Again, that gave it more legs to it, and yeah, helped kick the Expanse to the curb. Yeah. And honestly, I keep saying this over and over and over again. Binging's great once something comes out, fully. Really, if you're going to do episodic television, you need to drop it one episode a week in order for people to digest it, in order for people to talk about it, in order for people to get excited about what's coming up next. Otherwise, you drop it all at once. People are like, "Gimme, gimme, gimme," and they eat it, and then they're done, and they forget about it. Yeah. Oh yeah, they definitely learned their lesson, Sentient, because when they dropped The Boys, like they did, they dropped the first 4 episodes and they dropped one a week. It actually overtook Netflix for the first time. And that's what they've been trying to do. They've been trying to compete with Netflix because Netflix is the big boy on the block when it comes to streaming. And for the first time, The Boys was actually able to beat Netflix. And that's because everyone was going, when the fuck's the next episode coming out? Yeah. And it made them a shit ton of money because they run ads. Yeah. Amazon runs ads. Netflix doesn't. Yeah, they run at the very beginning. So it's nothing like big, but they still get a chunk of money from it. And if you think it's a small chunk of money, it's not. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, so I missed it in my subsequent viewings of The Mandalorian, episode 5 yesterday. But Dave fucking Filoni, he actually put in Morai. So Morai, for those of you who don't know who it is, it's Ahsoka Tano's companion, if you will. Some say it's a force creature. It's an owl-like creature, so it looks like an owl, but it's got like a long tail. And whenever Ahsoka is around, Morai is usually around someplace as well. And so when the Mandalorian's walking through the forest and initially trying to find, Ahsoka, and he says, "Hey," he tells the child, um, "Keep an eye out. I think we're close." And then they, go to an overhead shot, and Morai is in the branch above them on the left. No, the owl isn't mother, excuse me, Mutta. No, the owl isn't mother, Dante. Yes, there's been all kinds of theories as to who Morai is, like the Force incarnate, if you will, Justice. Um, there's other things too, but no one really knows for sure. Yeah. Sentient says, "Do you think success of Boys ended the Expanse?" No. I think the production value of The Expanse ended The Expanse, and then also they just saw this was going to get more and more expensive as it went along because of the books and how they progress, from what I've heard. And doing that 30-year time jump like you were talking about earlier, how are you going to do that? How are you going to pull it off? And also, I don't think the ratings for season 4 were as good as they were expecting. Yeah. And again, because they dropped it all at once. So, and I'm sure there was a little comparison to the boys. You take a look at the boys and see how well that did. And I mean, really how well that did, and how people are still talking about it. I see it on Twitter every single day. I see it on Facebook every week at least. And yeah, something about the boys, it's always out there. And it's not just because I'm following Derek Robertson, who's the artist and co-creator of the boys. There's other people that are talking about it too. The daughter, no, Danteus. I don't think it's a daughter either. Going back to Morai, I know a lot of people have said that. That's another theory as well. It's the daughter, but no, and some people have said the father. The daughter. Yeah, yeah. Nobody talks about the Expanse. If you're online, the only people that talk about the Expanse are the Expanse and the Expanse writers. I follow SA Corey, the guys, they have their own Twitter account. They don't even talk about it really all that much, and except now they're talking about it because they're trying to get up ramping up excitement on that. But yeah, a lot of people aren't talking about it right now, and that's kind of worrisome when you look at you're coming up 2 weeks on a premiere date, and you've got no hype for it whatsoever. I mean, I'm not even seeing on Amazon that they're promoting it even. I think they might have just kind of given up on it, which is sad. Because I mean, the boys were promoting this, their release. Oh, before Comic Con of last year. Yeah, yeah, they were like promoting it, the shit out of it. Right before Comic Con, at Comic Con, because I mean, I was at the at that was actually really cool. Um, so yeah, it's and that again is Amazon that does that. So, and it just kept snowballing from there. And people are really, really wanting to see what's going to happen with the boys, and not so much with the Expanse. I hate to say it. I don't know if there's fatigue on it or what. Yeah, they really should have just staggered the release on it and done weekly drop of episodes. And again, like I said, I believe I talked about that in my Expanse reviews for season 4. But yeah. But yeah, going back to the Mandalorian too. So Tython, excuse me, the planet. I actually had to do a little research on Tython myself because I didn't know what it was. But it's in Star Wars. It's in Wikipedia, which means it existed someplace before, and I didn't get a chance to see where it came about. I want to say it came out in either the expanded universe or one of the video games. But yeah, that's how it's coming about, and has been around for, well, at least 36,000 years plus before the Battle of Yavin, which is how things are normally. So the Battle of Yavin, of course, is the New Hope episode 4. Yeah, where the first Death Star was exploded. Spoiler alert. On a 40-year-old movie, 43-year-old movie. Spoiler alert. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to see where the Mandalorian goes with this. Also, yeah, there's some stuff that's coming up. I'm looking forward to WandaVision as well. I want to see what Disney Plus is going to do. If they've done this with Star Wars, episode wise, um, I really want to see what the hell they're going to do with Marvel stuff as a TV series. And I mean, uh, I'm still boggling as to what the fuck they're doing here with Star Wars on TV and how good it is and how simple it is. It's a very simple story. It's a Western, is really what it is. And it doesn't have much story to it. It doesn't have much writing to it. If you looked at last week's episode or this week's episode, I should say, um, there isn't a lot of dialogue to it. And yet we have a lot of exposition that is given to us. Um, and again, I've gone over this ad infinitum in different formats here. Uh, that's what you want. It's a show, don't tell. Um, John Millis, the great John Millis, of course, who directed Conan the Barbarian, the very first Conan movie. Um, that he was a teacher at USC and taught Lucas and Spielberg, and that was his mantra was show, don't tell. You don't need to have characters spouting exposition. Have them show you what's going on, and that way you see what's happening, and your audience will get it if they're not really stupid. So, but I put that with a caveat in there. Yeah. Yes, it is a space western. The Mandalorian is a space. It's a space spaghetti western. Someone actually did and you've probably seen it if you have Facebook or YouTube out there. It's been out there. Someone recut the opening of the Mandalorian to like a spaghetti western, and I think they called it the La Mandaloriano or something like that. I can't remember offhand. It's been a while since I've seen it, and it was cracking me up. And they even had the old spaghetti western movie and the grainy film footage and whatnot. And it looked pretty cool. Yeah. And also, I don't know if anyone noticed. I didn't talk about this either in last night's review of this or yesterday's review of this. In the Mandalorian, when Ahsoka, when they're getting ready to leave on the ship, and there's some strains of Star Wars music played, but it's at a slower speed, and so it was almost unrecognizable. So yeah, it was actually one of those good things. Sentient says, seemed Hollywood forgot about show, don't tell for a time. Yeah, I agree with you. They have a big time. You have a lot of, um, well, at the time, it used to be like music video directors that were coming up and were doing that kind of flashy bullshit. And then, of course, they didn't know how to direct a story. So they would just have their characters say, and they'd stop in the middle of the action and go, "Oh my god, we need to get this because of blah 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 blah," instead of actually just having your characters do it. Hey Ed, how's it going? I'm actually done with the new stuff, Ed. I'm just like spouting off shit now because that's what I do. Yeah, there's really not much news this week wise. I don't know. My brain's all over the place now at this point. There was actually a Batman animated movie that's coming out on in January called Batman something of the Dragon, Way of the Dragon, I think is what it is. And Michael Jai White is doing one of the voices, and it's a throwback to the 70s. So it's a lot of martial arts stuff. One of my friends actually said, "When the hell did Shang Chi and and Luke Cage become part of this?" Which are both Marvel characters. And I said it was just bad 70s acid. That's all it was. Yeah. I mean, the animation looks good. The voice work looks good. Sounds good, all that stuff. But yeah, it was just one of those things you're like, 70s? All right, sure. Oh, I loved him in Black Dynamite. So Ed, pretty much anything that Michael Jai White is in, even when he was in the CW as Bronze Tiger, he's a great actor. He's a great writer too. He's funny. I met the man at the Black Dynamite premiere in San Francisco years ago, and dude is just fucking hilarious and nice guy too. He really needs to do a lot more directing work and writing work and acting. He just, needs to get money, I think is what it is. Someone needs to fund him, and he can make a lot of stuff. He wanted to do Black Dynamite too, and I don't think the funding materialized for that. And he had done another like black exploitation western, if I remember correctly, and I don't think that ever saw the light of day. I saw a trailer for it, and then that was gone. Yeah, and I would have definitely bought that. I bought Black Dynamite. Yeah. Um. Yeah, actually, he would be a good Blade. They are remaking it, Ed, and unfortunately, he is not going to be Blade. But they do have someone that's just as good, and that is Ali Maz. And I always murder his last name. He's an Oscar winner, for God's sake. So yes, he is going to be playing Blade. He's the guy who played Cottonmouth in Luke Cage, season one of Luke Cage, and also he was the one of the bad guys in Alita Battle Angel. He's been in tons of shit as well. Um, he was in that movie that won an Oscar recently with Viggo Mortensen driving around a piano player. So he was the piano player. That was yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Sunshine. He's definitely gonna be a good Blade. He's got so much range and talent and everything. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Kevin Feige has just set up an amazing Marvel universe cinematically that it's I went back and I was rewatching over the week here. I wanted to watch Ant-Man and the Wasp again because it's one of those things that made me laugh. And so I'm watching Ant-Man and the Wasp, and of course the way it ends leads into Endgame. And so I went and rewatched Avengers Endgame, which I haven't seen since I watched it in the theater, just because I was depressed by it, really. And it's actually really good. It holds up. There's a couple of sketchy points in their time travel thing, like how in the fuck did Tony know the Tesseract was going to be in the 70s at a certain point in time when he wasn't even born then? We'll gloss over it. Not a big deal. But yeah, so then I watched, Avengers Endgame, and then from there I went to Spider-Man Far From Home because they all kind of, you know, piggyback on each other at that point. And I'm like, that's actually not a bad way of doing that. I mean, it actually flows pretty well. And the only problem I had, of course, is Amy Pascal producing Spider-Man Far From Home. She needs to just go away from any of Marvel stuff. But yeah. You liked Endgame better on the rewatch, Ed? Yeah. Yeah, I didn't mind it. I mean, it's 3.5 hours long, or what, a little over 3 hours long. So I had to pace myself on it. I think I watched the first half or the first hour, and then I went to sleep and then watched the other part of it the next day. I was actually falling asleep at one point. Like I said, I've watched it before. So, but yeah, I mean, to be able to weave all these characters and all these movies together coherently with a few little glitches here and there, um, it's a daunting task, especially when you're looking at a multi-billion-dollar industry is what this is. Um, that's essentially what he's heading up. He's heading up a multi-billion-dollar industry because it's not just the movies; it's all the merchandising that relies on the movies, the TV shows now, the rides, because you have rides at Disneyland, which of course are closed at the moment, but still, you have rides at Disneyland that are tied into this, as well as merchandising at Disneyland, online, the comics now. Since now Ike Perlmutter has nothing to do with the comics. I believe that is folded under Disney now as well. And trying to think who else. There's just a lot of shit involved in all of this. Sentient says, I'm worried about Marvel Universe future. I think it's had its time. No, I think it's actually still good. I think it's still good, quite honestly. There are other characters you can bring in, so many other characters to bring in. They still haven't done Nova, you have the whole space thing. I mean, you have all these kind of space things, plus you also have the horror aspect of it as well, if they do horror right, which I'm believing if Sam Raimi is doing, Doctor Strange 2, that is gonna be interesting. I wanna see what his take is gonna be on it. Yes, I know Scott Derrickson left because they wouldn't let him go into the really dark and torturous horror stuff that he wanted to go into, and for good reason, because Doctor Strange is not the kind of shit that you do that with. Um, and quite honestly, Doctor Strange is kind of boring. I don't really like Scott Derrickson's direction on it. I'd rather see Sam Raimi's direction on it. Go figure. And yeah, I mean, you have Werewolf by Night, you have Ghost Rider, if you can do Ghost Rider well, Blade, of course. You have the whole Midnight Suns thing you can do as well. Son of Satan, not that fucking Hellstrom bullshit that was on Hulu, which I'm fairly sure is canceled. Do a real Son of Satan. Do that. You have Mephisto you can work with. Um, Fuck, man. You have Nightmare. Um, you have all kinds of dark, the horror aspect of Marvel as well. So there's all kinds of stuff to work with. Sunshine says, let's hope. I'm afraid they'll just keep milking it with mediocre writing. I haven't seen any mediocre writing so far. I mean, Captain Marvel was questionable, just because of how they tried to shoehorn it in. And I'm like, yeah, I really would have rather had Monica Rambeau be Captain Marvel than Carol Danvers, because Carol Danvers as a character is just fucking boring. She really is. She's been boring in the comics and she's boring in the movies. You need to actually bring in Monica Rambeau, who actually has a bit more personality in a life kind of thing going on there. Yeah. And that was my problem was with that movie. That's at the bottom of my tier of Marvel movies is Captain Marvel. And right above it is The Incredible Hulk, the Ed Norton version of it. And that was just because Ed Norton just really got into his head that he knew more about Marvel than anybody else and decided to try and put his own auteur spin on it, and it looked like shit. I mean, the whole thing with Abomination being turned inside out kind of thing, and dumb. Yeah. But yeah, and Mark Ruffalo's character, he's all right as Hulk. Wouldn't have been my choice for Banner. I mean, there's plenty of other little scrawny guys you could do. Dark World is the lowest for you, Ed. Um, Dark World wasn't great, honestly, but it was serviceable. Is what it was. Yeah, that's so. Yeah, it's Captain Marvel at the bottom, Incredible Hulk, and then yeah, I'd say Thor: Dark World is there. There are some others that are horrible, more horrible than that. So yeah, yeah, I can't bring myself to watch it. Um, Although I am one of the people that did like the first Hulk, with the Ang Lee version of it, and it's mainly because it took chances with the comic book characters. It did the comic panels and stuff like that. I liked Eric Bana as Bruce Banner. I don't know, yeah, but Liv Tyler was a little too much of a space cadet stoner for me. Yeah, as Betty. I did love Sam Elliott though as Thunderbolt Ross. Yeah, I like him so much better than John Hurt. John Hurt's an okay Thunderbolt Ross, but Sam Elliott was the shit as Thunderbolt Ross. He actually brought that anger to it that I don't think William Hurt can bring. he had that. I don't know what it was, but when he got angry, I believe that he was going to beat the shit out of something. And that's what you need for a Red Hulk, if you're ever going to go Red Hulk wise. I would like to see them bring back, Sam Elliott at some point in time, but yeah. Yeah. So with that said, I'm gonna let you guys go for the day. Thank you to everybody who joined me today in the chat, and thank you if you made it this far in the video. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. And if you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button down below there. Also, if you can, while you're down there, hit that like button and the share button as well. Also, it's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you if you hit the bell down below to see when I'm going to be on next. So best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule that's up there. I change it out every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media that's up there. So Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. Also, all the links to like this YouTube channel, my Facebook page, and a Facebook group page for those of you who still have Facebook, where you can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. It's mainly supposed to be there for a chat board for people who want to chat, but no one's really using it at the moment. So yeah, 2021, the year of the tier. Eh. Yeah, I'm gonna try sentient. I just haven't gotten around to it as of yet. There's just other shit that keeps popping up in my queue of things. So I will try definitely. Thank you, everybody. I will see you again. Oh, but what do I have going on for this week? I forgot to even mention any of that. Tomorrow I'll be off. Monday will be his Dark Materials. Tuesday will be another episode of Is It Worth My Time? And I think this time around, I'm going to do the Melissa McCarthy movie that just came out, Super Intelligence, just because I feel bad that I watched it. Wednesday will most likely be a drop of the new segment, Who in the Hell Is? And I believe Who in the Hell Is Grand Admiral Thrawn is going to be this week's drop, is what this is going to be, since we had a mention of Grand Admiral Thrawn. And I don't know if anyone knows who that is. So I think we'll do that. Thursday is up in the air. I might do another Is It Worth My Time or not, but I'm not sure what I'll do. I'll see. I'll keep it Thursday fluid at the moment. Friday will be The Mandalorian. And Saturday, we come back around again to Saturday morning blast off. All right. So until Monday, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may end up in a Nick Cage movie where he plays himself, and not only himself, but he also plays a 90s version of himself that's pissed off at the current version of himself for being a dickhead, for taking all these really shitty roles. And you really don't want to be a part of that. Or maybe you do. I don't know. It sounds like it might be kind of fun. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again on Monday. Until then, stay safe, be well, take care, and I'll see you then. Have a good rest of your day, everyone.